So the Madlanga Commission will be back in session in about 5 minutes' time. Suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya back in the hot seat for a third consecutive day. And we're now at the stage of his testimony where he has to face the barrage of questions from commissioners who, as you know by now, leave little unasked and unquestioned. Canny Maphanga is our senior reporter who's still keeping a close eye on the commission for us and joins us from the Bridget Mabanda Justice College, where, Canny, it's been a tough first couple of hours for Shadrack Sibiya, who in the main has had to answer questions around whether or not the decision to move those 121 dockets from the PKTT to the SAPS headquarters in Pretoria was disruptive.
Indeed. Good morning to you, Ayanda, and to the viewers once again. Those efforts that we saw yesterday by Lieutenant-General Shadrack Sibiya to divert the attention from his own conduct to that of his counterparts seemingly isn't working, because we're now back at the PKTT directive that is there. It's part of the immutable evidence before the Commission. The letter is projected up as he is brought to confront that reality, that it is his letter, or rather that instruction, that triggered that 3 or 5 month period where those dockets were in Gauteng and they effectively weren't being worked on, or the investigations were stalled, or the court-going dockets were not in the courts where they needed to be. So you actually weren't seeing the advancement of those cases that had already reached that stage. You're seeing him have difficulty accepting that reality, hiding behind the claim that these dockets had been, I guess, dormant since 2018, meaning that they hadn't been worked on for some time and those investigations were stalled anyway. But if he's going to assert before the Commission that he didn't know what the status of those dockets were, then it is immaterial to the exercise that is being conducted right now, because what is being asked of the General is to concede to the fact that there was a travesty of justice here, because you're having these key dockets from a team that we're hearing was advancing quite greatly on the cases that they had undertaken. Then you have a period where the dockets are transferred and they sit in this particular repository for 3 or 5 months and they are not worked on. And you're seeing that while the Commission is working hard to get him to realize that fact, he keeps wanting to bring up other additional issues, such as Mkhwanazi not taking the dockets back. But again, that is immaterial to the discussion, because Mkhwanazi has already explained that he is not the person that called for the transfer of those particular dockets for them to go from KZN to Gauteng. So it therefore was not his responsibility to take them back after 3 months, because he doesn't know what took place with the said dockets during that period. So the PKTT dockets and the actions thereof with respect to Lieutenant-General Shabiya will become important, because it deals with the motive of the disbandment and what really was taking place. And as that questioning continues in quite forensic detail, that is what the Commission is trying to get to when it continues to press the General on his role in the alleged travesty of justice that took place. That after this directive, not only was there pressure for Sintamela to get those dockets, but his actions in the letter is quite clear that the transfer must take place, and it must take place within a very small time frame. And then once the dockets that get there, they get examined, I think, for 11 days, and then nothing happens after that. So we saw that for a significant period following that directive, those investigations were suppressed, and we know that the context at the time is that it was just after December where they were closing in on these alleged cartel members, namely Katiso Katie Melefe and Vusimuzi Kat Matala, and had already started giving effect to those cases with respect to those two, where it is believed that allegedly Sibiya would be touched in some form with respect to those cases. So as we continue, we're not through all of the issues yet, but there's a big focus on his directive with the 121 dockets, because it's quite material to that discussion. We're ready to continue with the remainder of that evidence. He is back on the stand now to continue to answer those questions from the Commission's bench as well as the evidence leader. Let's take a listen to the rest of his explanations.